Action.
Okay. The emotional response that you have with whatever situation is occurring is kind of like the major push that gives you that adrenaline rush that kind of tells your brain to release the adrenaline. That's really what helps her the most. But also, going back to the questions we asked before this, she probably wouldn't be able to lift another car or do something quite active the next couple of days because her body would be so physically tired from that, because there is a physical limit that your body can be pushed. And yes, she reached that limit, but she could probably go a little further, but your body's like, hold up, let's take a break, because she used muscles and tendons that she wasn't used to, and she probably overused them really quickly and hurt herself. But it also was beneficial because she helped her father. So our conclusion, I'm just going to read it and explain it. A person's sense perception, biology, life experiences, and accidents, and emotions along with technological advances influence, limit, and determine a person's biological constitution. So the human body, or their human anatomy, is defined by many aspects of a person's life that are constantly changing, and therefore how can a person's biological constitution truly be defined at a certain moment in their life? So that was kind of a major question, and our conclusion was how can we define our physiological or our physical body, and how can we define our senses, and how can we define this and that when they're constantly changing over time, and they're constantly changing due to things that we respond to emotionally, respond to physically,
when we get older, we after a certain age, most people are going to start wearing glasses, which when you were young, you might have 20/20 vision, and that's a limiting factor because you start to see the world differently. You also may become hard of hearing, or you could just wear out your knees. You could get an accident and you just are in a wheelchair for the rest of your life, or something along those lines that does end up limiting, influencing, or determining the way you view or are part of the world, when before you were, just the way you were.
And something we kind of pulled from doing this presentation together is that we shouldn't try to be limited by ourselves. We should try to push ourselves as far as we can. Because we were kind of really inspired by Mikhail, because he did something so extraordinary, and most people would be like, why, what, no, that's not possible. Just like the man with no arms and no legs, he's a great speaker. He swims, he has a wife and kids, and some people would just be like, what? But we got really inspired by that. And so we really decided that you can push yourself, and there really is no limit if you have the emotional perseverance and drive to do it. But in the case of Lauren, yes, she did have a limit because she pushed it really hard, really fast, and you just kind of have to weigh both sides of it. And I think that was really interesting and something we came up on.
Yeah, and also that just it's when you if you're a healthy teenager, for example, and your parents you need to study more, you need to do better in school, you need to do that because later on you're going to need it, and you're like, well, no, I don't need to, but then you learn about maybe a friend who suffers from a disease or has some sort of learning disability, but they work so much harder, and you're like, well, I kind of have it easy, I don't see that, and then you're like, maybe I should get my act together and start working like that and try to do better, because these people, anyone that may have suffered from something works as hard as they can, and it inspires others. So just
And then just some random questions at the end that we kind of just came up with on our own. They relate to it, but they're not directly related.
So does this differ for other living organisms because they have different biological constitution? For example, the differences in their senses or emotional range. So birds that can see wider ranges of different colors compared to us, which we can only see, the ones that we experience. And also are humans solely defined by the biological constitution. So there's the way we are, the way we think, the mental and physical capabilities we